Steelcase is known for its extensive research and kind of studying and the knowledge and the workspace around human being. So we would like to know, how do you look at the Indian markets?
As you said before, right, we are a human-centered organization, so we are designing our products for people who learn and work.
So I think if you look at Steelcase, I think if you just look at the timeline for which we have been there, it's more than 100 years. And I think we have been leading the segment or this category for close to 50 plus years now. And you can't do that unless you keep yourself abreast of what's happening. And when I say, what I mean by that is,
Thank you. It's in growth vertical for us, right? When we started looking into the education or healthcare, the kind of things. Where to start with, in India, at this point of time, I'd say that creative minds are in a creative learnings, right? The two things happen with the education.
And that is working extremely well. So that's why the growth opportunity is massive. You talked about how many universities?
42,000, yeah.
42,000, right? I would say probably out of these 42,000, probably 40,000 are with outdated furniture and outdated space design. And this is what we see as our big leverage. It takes time because you talked about pedagogy before.
Namaskar, hello, and welcome to this special episode of IndiGlobal Tech Talks that brings to you latest trends, technologies, and innovation in the various sectors and industries. Today, we are joined by the leadership team from the Steelcase organization, which is a special and a unique company that focuses on the human beings and the workspace around them, be it at work, be it at the education workspace. So today we are joined by some special guests who are here at the launch of their unique showroom, Steelcase in Hyderabad. We are joined by Mr. Uli Gwinner, who is the president, Steelcase Asia Pacific, and Mr. Tritankur Basu, managing director, India and SAARC, and also we are joined by Rahul Shetty, Director, Sales India Steelcase. Thank you very much, Mr. Gwinner, Mr. Shetty, and also Mr. Ghosh. First, congratulations for your new showroom that's being launched in Hyderabad. Steelcase is known for its extensive research and kind of studying and the knowledge and the workspace around human beings. So we would like to know, how do you look at the Indian markets?
As you said before, right, we are a human-centered organization, so we are designing our products for people who learn and work at practically all locations. And India is a rising country and a rising place for creative work, for digital transformation. So that's why this country has a tremendous talent pool. And this talent pool aspires to create great things. And we strongly believe that if you want to do great things, you need a great workplace, you need a great place to learn. And therefore, we are designing objects, products, and solutions which are catered towards this objective.
Amazing. So you already have various centers in India, be it New Delhi or other cities, metropolitan cities in India. What is the difference that you see, as each city has its own nature, and some of these cities are known as IT hub and some of them are known as pharma hub. They have a different nature and the kind of economy over there is different. How do you look at Hyderabad and other cities?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the development of Hyderabad in the last couple of years has been outstanding. So a lot of companies out of the professional services sector have been expanding dramatically. And if you just take the Indian arms of the large four accounting and consulting firms around the world, So they have hired, in fact, more people here in India than they are employing in their very large home market of the United States. So that's why, if you look at the development, it was certainly exceptional how Hyderabad has been growing in the last couple of years. So when I'd say Bangalore is certainly a very dynamic market, but it's a dynamic market since more than 2 decades. So that's why I would say Hyderabad was, in fact, the rising star with regards to the development of the service industry over the last decade, and is still supposed to grow. You just have to look out of the window and you see all these massive buildings coming up, which, for my hometown is Munich in Germany and I live in Hong Kong. So when we talk about big buildings there, they have only a fraction of the space compared to these buildings which go up here. If you look at the large campuses of companies, they have 10,000 and more people in one building, which is outstanding, and which is also a significant opportunity for us, because all these people need to work in our tools, and we are more than happy to provide our knowledge, our products to help these people do their best work.
Amazing. Mr. Gwina, one question that would certainly come to you is, how does Steelcase stand out from the rest?
So maybe I hand that question over to Tirthankar Basu, who works for almost 2 decades in the industry here in India. So I think he's very much qualified to take that question.
Sure. So I think if you look at Steelcase, I think if you just look at the timeline for which we have been there, it's more than 100 years. And I think we have been leading the segment or this category for close to 50 plus years now. And you can't do that unless you keep yourself abreast of what's happening. And when I say, what I mean by that is you don't always react, right? You have to see the trend, you need to see around the bend, and for that you need to have a very strong research which can help you look through. So I think what stands Steelcase apart from the peers, I would say, is that we have the ability to see small incidences which can become a trend, right? So a lot of products that you see here are products that have been leading, or often it was before time, before the market was ready for it.
Yeah.
Right? Only then you start leading it, right? So I think we have the capability, and we are dedicating a major part of our resources, listening to customers, learning from what's happening around us, and feeding it back to the global, the research and the innovation hubs, which help us think through what's going to come. I would say that's pretty much like any other great organization, that's pretty much the formula to stay ahead.
Yeah, there is one thing, you have already tested waters in other cities, and besides education and health, the other workspaces that you focus on, how has been the response? And in terms of the economy of the products you have, it seems to be, since it comes with a lot of comfort and lot of features, it comes also with a price. How do you tackle with that?
I would say that let me talk about the growth economies. Okay, I would say Southeast Asia, India, China. So these are the growth economies where, if you look at the India landscape over the last 10 years, the people that were being hired, the skill sets that you are hiring, were very different from what they are hiring today. You agree?
Yes.
So the physical space is very much part and parcel of that, right? So
yes,
I don't think we had ever a challenge of the price point. I think particularly the Indian customers, I respect them and love them, because it's not about price, but it's about the value. So our challenge is, it's never been for the customer to accept a price, but it's a challenge for Steelcase and the fraternity to really communicate that, is it giving them the right value, the right purpose, right? You'll be surprised to know that some of the most premium products of Steelcase have got the biggest install base in India. Not in the US, not in the growth economy, but in India.
amazing.
So for us, it's always about understanding the customer's need and just fine tuning the product and the solutions to some extent where you can cater to the address that need, right?
Okay.
Price is important. I think we need to be competitive, and we are competitive. In fact, we are investing a lot in the Make in India thing. We are getting more and more products into our Pune plant, which is in Chakan, and that's all to save the carbon footprint and also to reduce the unnecessary expenses on logistics, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of the product value, I don't think there's absolutely any doubt that the Indian market is more than willing to pay for this.
Glad to know. Can you tell us about Steelcase India's presence in the country?
So we are directly present in 6 cities. Steelcase has its own team, and then we are present through our channel partners in another 12 markets.
Great. Now I come to Mr. Rahul Shetty. You head the education and the healthcare sector in Steelcase. Can you tell us how innovative Steelcase is getting, and how could it? What has been the reach and the response from the education healthcare sector?
So it's thank you. It's in growth vertical for us, right? When we started looking into the education or healthcare and the kind of things. Where to start with, in India, at this point of time, I'd say that creative minds or creative learnings, right? The two things happens with the education. Where when you go to a school, people say that have an attention. May have an attention to kids, right? But what is an attention is their thought process to make the future ready. It may be the workplace, it may be the education, it may be the kind of healthcare. It's not about saying that what is safe for me tomorrow. Where education or healthcare in our thought process at this point of time, creating that ecosystem to be ensuring that tomorrow's generation has that ecosystem of active learning. So pedagogy, technology, and a space come in the space of architecture and from the corporate world where we thought about how that starts with the day one of learning, so that they were ready for the future instead of saying that how I need to jump for that tomorrow. I think that's where we are in a growth. And as a market to us, India in education at this point of time, 42,000 universities are already there.
Yes.
Right. We are, I'll say that late or early. It's to say that we may be late in the industry because it's always you need to create some kind of vibes with the research and giving that to society. We are starting that now. I think we'll be there in a future of that in education of saying that want to make the difference to the Indian growth story in India within education.
Okay. What are the hit products? I mean to say the happening products and the well taken products of Steelcase in education and health.
So we do have a lot of application. I'll not say that product. Steelcase never believed in selling as a product.
Okay.
We believe in saying that solution selling. Some of that solution is kind of an application. We called some of the application called Note Share.
Okay.
If you've seen that experience, we can experience that. It make your space self-sufficient for a person to come to work around and like a kid to respond back and actively engage and make sure that it happens. Right? It's a one way of selling. As solutions are concerned, it's always making sure that it's future-proofing, not product selling. Steelcase never believed in the product selling. Yes, we do have an organization called Split Systems. It's a 100-year-old organization globally, and it's part of Steelcase portfolio. That starting with that application, we are promoting in India market to go forward.
I think the big headline on learning is the move towards what we call active learning. We have researched that students are dramatically more engaged if they do not only listen to the teacher or the professor, but if they converse amongst each other and teach each other. And therefore you need different settings in space.
Yeah.
In fact, the classroom in traditional spaces has not changed over 100 years. So,
Yes.
and that is what we have now developed with multiple applications from K1 to K12 and also then university and tertiary learning. So that you need completely different settings for active learning. And this is rising the engagement level of students, and engagement is the foundation for future success. So this is the big story. So all the products we are developing for libraries, for classrooms, for in-between spaces, for cafes, all follow the idea of active learning, and that is working extremely well. So that's why the growth opportunity is massive. So you talked about how many universities?
42,000, yeah.
42,000, right? I would say probably out of these 42,000, probably 40,000 are with outdated furniture and outdated space design, and this is what we see as our big leverage. It takes time because we talked about pedagogy before, right? It requires a different type of pedagogy, and a lot of teachers and professors are not ready yet for the new way of pedagogy, which means that the professor is not so much a talker, but rather a moderator. Sorry to all teachers around the world, right, who think they are far down that road, but in all the projects we are doing, we find that very often that it still will take some time to develop a next generation of teachers and professors who truly embrace the idea of active learning. But that's the big opportunity.
Great. As you mentioned that you understand the human and the ecosystem around them, be it any sector. So do you think the kind of innovations and the value that Steelcase would provide would be revolutionary in healthcare and
I
education?
mean, would be revolutionary.
Revolutionary.
I mean, first of all, we try to understand things, right? So, I mean, this is our approach. It's the design thinking approach. We try to observe, listen, understand, and out of there, we try to synthesize new ideas and develop new concepts. As Tirthankar has said, right, we always try to play the puck in the direction where the next player will be. And sometimes that works extremely well, where we are fully on trend and we completely get it, and sometimes it also does not work. So we have also products which are used maybe differently than we have thought originally. But overall, I would say we are for sure a very innovative company. So I'd say in the end, we stand for three things: insight-led design, innovation, and the third one is sustainability and quality. So if you ask our customers, they would say quality is in fact the most important feature of the Steelcase brand, but that makes us very happy because that means our products are used for a very long time, which also plays really well into our sustainability objectives. Because the worst thing is if you produce furniture which ends up in landfill after 3 years, right? So that's why we give lifelong warranties at Steelcase. So if you buy your task chair for home, or if you buy your height adjustable desk for the office, or any soft seating, right, you can be sure that you will have it for a generation, not only for a couple of years.
Amazing. So Steelcase, once it's in the office or home, it's going to be there with generations.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I'm personally using my office chair now. When I moved to Hong Kong in 2007, I got a Think chair as my work chair, and now 16 years later, I thought, okay, maybe it's time to replace the gas lift now, right? But 16 years, 20 years, absolutely no problem for our products.
Amazing.
And that is also circling back to the price of the product, right? So if you buy the cheapest Indian office chair you can find on the market, or the most expensive Steelcase chair you can buy on the market, over the lifespan of 10 to 15 years, right? It's less than a cup of tea or coffee per day what you have additional cost of use. So it's absolutely minimal. That's why I always ask all the companies who are buying office furniture, right? I ask them, is tea or coffee free for your employees in the company? Can they drink as much as they want? Everybody says, yeah, certainly. Here we have the tea kitchen. I say, see, then you also should provide them the best office chair you can buy on the market.
Glad to know the kind of outlook you have for the value and the furniture is provided by Steelcase. One last question would be like, Steelcase is into a lot of research and the kind of knowledge around this sector. So any kind of collaborations that it has with different sectors within India or abroad in terms of innovations and research?
A little bit. So I think we are actively looking at participation or collaboration with Kukai, right? So If I give you an example, like in the US, we have for the education segment, we actively collaborated with like the University of Michigan. Right, for the healthcare, we have active collaboration with a lot of large healthcare facilities. And like one of the chair that we talked about, the think chair or the leap chair, gesture chair, we actually participated, collaborated with MIT. Okay. So these are very actively done across, right? As far as India is concerned, I think we are very proactively interacting with design institutes like National Institute of Design, IDC, IIT. We are hiring people from here to be part of our global innovation center.
Wonderful.
Design centers, because they get us the design thought that we want to create. And it's not about India, it's about getting the best minds, the most diverse minds, which help us make us a truly global organization.
Besides the warehouse and showrooms and also the manufacturing units, you have R&D facility also?
Yes. So we have R&D facilities across the world. So I think we have so R&D is two types, right? So one is product design and other is the research. So today we have a research node in India, which is a big step for us. We have two research nodes in APAC, one in India.
Okay.
So we're talking to customers, looking at trends, feeding it back as a design team.
Okay.
And then we have a design innovation center in Singapore.
Okay.
But it's not standalone. Singapore is not just for APAC. Singapore is part of a design node in Grand Rapids, in Munich. So it all goes back. We are a global organization. We are not a regional organization. So whatever we develop has to make sense to global audience.
Okay, amazing. So now I would like to have your message for our viewers and audience. Each of you, Mr. Goutham, what would be your message for the various stakeholders in various sectors in India?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would love to speak to all the educators out there in India, which you guys have an amazing responsibility to educate and train the next generation of Indians. So Gen Z is not far from really having a big say in the workforce. So please provide them the space that they can be in active learning and collaborate well together in the education process.
Thank you. Mr. Rahul, your
Yes,
message.
as India is more becoming a knowledge hub, it's a time to pedagogy, technology and a space coming together, making education as in growth, to make sure that we curate and create and make sure that future employment is created by self, the individual, to make entrepreneur by themselves, by within different ways of learning, not following things. That's my message, and Steelcase we here to be partnering with that thought process to make sure that we are partnering with you.
Wonderful. Mr. Basu, we would like to have your message.
I think I strongly believe that space shapes behavior, and behavior over time becomes culture. So while we talk about changing culture in IT, in workspace, in education, everywhere, I believe that space is a very important part of it. So don't just treat it as a cost center. It's actually your biggest asset after the people. That's the message.
So, thank you so much. That is the leadership we have. Mr. Uli Goutham, who is the president for Steelcase Asia Pacific, and Mr. Titankar Basu, who is the managing director for India and SAC for Steelcase. Mr. Rahul Shetty, who is the director Sales India, leading organization for Steelcase. So this is Sudheer Goutham from IndiGlobal Media Network. We join you till the time. We join you with yet another inspiring leadership or inspiring story. This is Sudheer Goutham signing off.